to join us here at West Empower. Of course, we was already discussing, what West Empower do and why we do, these educational civic series, that our community know the importance of local offices, the who, the what, the where, and the why. So again, thank you so much for joining us. And if you do not have any questions, and if you're ready, we can get started.
I'm ready. Thank you very much for doing this. As I said to you when I met you, you are on my bucket list of people to meet. I am so impressed by you and what you're doing. Keep going.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So now, of course, you and I we have conversated, we have talked about family, we have talked about personal, our parents, and things like that. But for someone who don't know you, can you tell us who are you?
Well, I am a little old Western Pennsylvania girl. I'm one of 6 children. I was born and raised in Western Pennsylvania. My grandparents were immigrants. We came from a very humble background. My father was the first in his family to graduate college, and then he used the military to go to law school. My mother, same background. Her father, she's an only child. Her father was a union worker, and they very humble beginnings. I grew up, our first apartment was right there in the Crafton Ingram apartments, right around the corner from you.
Yeah. When I seen that, I was like, oh, okay.
I remember standing in my crib, and I was probably 3 or 4 years old, and they were just starting out, and there were 4 of us. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, and 4 of us were in the one little room. I remember standing in my crib looking out the window at the traffic going by in the morning.
But when I seen that, I was like, okay, you're closer to what I thought. So yeah. That was shocking. I was shocked. I didn't know that until I started reading. I was like, wait a minute. She grew up in Crafton.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It was fun. We would go to that shopping center, and my mother had a little play pool that she would stick out in the middle of where the 2 arches are in that apartment building, and we'd have a little swimming pool there. Then we moved. Eventually, my father, through his career, was involved with a law firm that was practiced both in Beaver and Allegheny County. So they moved us, the 6 of us, to a little town called Swickley, where we could walk. And that town, the complexion of the town has changed a lot over the years, but we could walk, and it was a very nice town. We had an Isley's, a movie theater.
Yeah.
I attended Quaker Valley High School, and when I first was in middle school, we were playing 3-on-3. Yep. And it evolved, Title IX passed, and all of a sudden I'm graduating from college, and I'm getting calls from schools to play basketball. And I ended up I ended up going to Pitt, and I didn't know at the time, but I was breaking the glass ceiling. I was one of the first 2,000 women. And it wasn't easy, because the people didn't like that change. They didn't accept it. But I just kept plugging away, and I went through, and I'm still best friends and good buddies with all my teammates. And there wasn't the WNBA to go to, so we all sought professional careers. I waited a little bit, then I went to law school at night. I was married, and during my 3rd year evening, I had a surprise. I had a baby, my Ted. And I know, it's hilarious. My tax two professor said to me, I would do anything to get out of that final. But I'm one of 6 kids, and I'm the only one to be a lawyer. So upon graduating, my dad, he swooped me up. Although I did clerk for Judge Standish, who was a federal court judge. Wonderful. I learned a lot. But I went to work for my father right away, and I was trying cases within 3 weeks of graduating or passing the bar. He was extremely tough on me at the time. And through 1996, we were involved in the 3 Mile Island cases.
Okay.
Yep. And we were processing property and personal injury claims.
Mm.
And by that time, by 92, 93, I was going through a divorce, and I was a single mom, and my dad would send me out to Harrisburg and he would pick my kids up.
Oh, okay. Now I have not had the pleasure of meeting your father, but I do want to say that I have heard some amazing things about your father. I have heard, once I start snooping, like, okay, who is this person? Who's her kid, who's her parents, her children, etc. I've heard some amazing stories about your father. I have, and I've also heard that, you have taken a lot of his characteristics with you. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that people is saying that about you and him.
Yeah, it has not always been easy being his daughter, because I will walk into court and they'll ask me, where's your father? What does your father have to say? And, I just have to kind of roll along, because he was such an icon, but he's been very, very, very tough on me. And it's good. It's good. He has taught me so much. So much. And I've been involved in environmental cases, real estate cases, personal injury cases, and just regular people, just every problem that you have civilly. And I have never forgot my my immigrant background, and my grandfather and my aunts, they would never speak Italian in front of us because they did not want us to pick up an accent, and they did not want us speaking Italian.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was interesting going through the 60s and the 70s and that. And so it was very, I'm very, my family values, I'm very family oriented. I take care of people. I have an autistic brother, and he has a lot of issues. And I am constantly going through having him taken care of emotionally, mental health. If it gets out of the box, I have a deep compassion for people who have those types of struggles. Because when you're that emotionally, those types of conditions, you have brushes with the law often.
Yeah. And it's amazing of what one can hear from a person, Beth, because I'm gonna say, and I just want our listeners to know that what we're hearing here at West Power is, you're looking out for the other person. You're looking out for, people who need help or assistance in any way. And what comes to mind with me is that, there was a tragedy here of a young family, lost everything. I'm not going to mention their names or anything, but they lost everything. And I want to say that, when they reached out to their, how they lost and how you immediately, jumped in to get involved and to help in any way that you can with this family. I want to make sure that, our listeners hear and understand exactly who you are in that aspect as well. And even though you don't talk about it, you have not, shared that or anything. And like I said, I'm not going to mention any names, but I just wanted wanted the community to know the part that you played, behind the scenes, without no one knowing, what part you played in helping this young family. So for that, I wanted to just, throw that out there as well. And also with your parents and your brother, and you're always talking and assisting the next person. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Now, you had talked a little bit about, you do the wills, the deeds. And I also know that you, I was reading up that I don't know if you work with Operation Better Block, or do you volunteer with Operation Better Block? and the clinics that you do for families. So you do a clinic on the east side. Can you share more of that with us?
Yeah, I'm involved with the Western Pennsylvania trial lawyers, and so we offer pro bono services, or they do. And Lori, the assistant, someone will call and they'll want to have a will done or a real estate transaction, and she calls me. I also work with Operation Better Block, and they will call me and they'll ask me about real estate transactions, wills, and those kinds of things. And what is bothering me, Terri, right now in Pittsburgh is, and I have several cases that I'm working on right now, and I work on them pro bono because to me, I don't have the heart to charge them because they'd end up with nothing. Now, mom and dad buy a house.
Okay.
Mom and dad die. Mom and dad don't have a will. When mom and dad die, and I'm surprised at the misconception, children don't realize that the house just doesn't pass automatically by operational law. And the house is in the estate. So I have one gentleman who has $100,000 house. He calls me up and says, "Can I deed the house to myself?" I said, "We have to open an estate." Well, why? And I said, "Well, there's because they died, and you cannot transfer a property from a deceased person to a live person. We have to open an estate so that the estate can act and transfer that property." But whether it has a will or not is no problem. That only comes a problem with the people start fighting, because I can do this by intestacy. So I said to him, "We can transfer this property, but you're going to have to pay 4.5% in inheritance tax." So when I'm counseling these people, I say, "Please deed this, get this, deed this between you and your children right now when you're living, so that I can push this, get this away from the inheritance tax." It's brutal. He has to save his money, and I think it's like $9,000 he's going to have to pay. I have another. I have another client. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when you say that, what we should be doing now with our parents, grandparents, family members owning a home while you're alive, what should we be doing now? When you say deed this, what do you mean? I mean, go get the grandparents to deed the property to the heirs while they're living. So that, because there's no realty transfer tax between relatives, mother, child, and you avoid the inheritance tax. Now that there are some issues with if they go into assisted living and that with a 5-year look back, but I don't know that they're going to bother that or touch. My problem is real estate is where family wealth starts. And they could build on this. This is something that mom and dad bought, paid for. They own it outright. There's no mortgage. They could live in this. They could sell it. And here it's in an estate and it's not transferred. They need to transfer it while they're living. It breaks my heart. So, that's why I wanted to ask you, one more time, so we can understand what we need to be doing right now. So thank you so much for that. And let me ask you this. So with your, with your expertise now, Beth, in litigation and things like that, the wills, you do a real estate clinic over in Wilkinsburg, or is that Wilkinsburg? Is that Wilkinsburg? I think it's Homewood. In Homewood, you do the clinic in Homewood to help families with what we were just talking about. Now, can you tell us how can you take, or how would you take your skills in that aspect and take it to the Court of Common Pleas bench? Well, my niche is in the civil division, and my niche is in actual trials and motions and discovery. I work out those complex, hard, difficult problems. I have had a lot of environmental type cases, personal injury cases, concussion cases. I represented a boy who was injured wearing a football helmet. Now, I do not, I mean, the court might decide to start me out in family division so I can learn. But I think at my age and with my experience, Patrick Connolly, when he won his seat, they put him in civil immediately. Elliot Housey spent about 3 seconds in family, and then they put him in criminal because he's a criminal lawyer. And Beamer, Judge Beamer, they put him in criminal. So I just have a feeling with, with my background and what I've done, I will be in the civil division. The civil division that we handle real estate, we handle fire cases, insurance cases, all the environmental. And I'm chomping at the bit with environmental because of the fact that environmental cases get knocked out on what we call the fry roll. And in federal court, it's called Daubert, and it's all causation, and it's all, the corporate America says they live within the guidelines. And so they try to knock us out all the time. And the judges do it. And I just was involved in an amicus case here where it involved 2 gentlemen who were workers on a golf course in their 70s. They contracted cancer. Well, their doctor said, I think this is related to chemical exposure. Well, the judge in Allegheny County said, I don't buy it. He believed the defense expert over the plaintiff expert. Up on appeal, I helped on the appeal. I write for the amicus committee for the Pennsylvania State Justice, and we took it up and we got it all reversed. And the judge can't make that ruling. The judge cannot make that ruling. They have to address these issues. They have to let a jury see these issues. I mean, these are very important issues. And a lot of times you don't have to stop. I mean, to get knocked out, it's about 2 years on appeal. Once people are knocked out in the common pleas court, they don't go up. They won't appeal. And I think the judges have to really take a hard look at this. I think climate change is real. I think environmental is real.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
And you have mentioned Judge Connolly, and I don't think it's a funny story, but this is what happened. I had invited Western Power, invited him to an educational community civic series when we were in person. And there were maybe 6 people that were to come, and sit on the panel with him. And unfortunately, he was the only one that showed up in the community. So everybody had all the questions just for him. And I was like, oh my, I felt so bad for him that day. But so my next question to you, Beth, is, now with your passion of help with the wills and the deeds and the clinics, and how would you take that and explain to us why Court of Common Pleas?
Well, one thing is I think we have to get organized. And there's as a judge, there are things that you can do and things that people will listen to. I think we have to, with the courts, with the wills and that, I can help when it comes to getting people processed and getting those things pushed through. I don't know how, with the real estate transfer tax, or not the inheritance tax, that's something we have to work on with our legislature. But the fact that I'm a go-getter, I see these issues, I see these problems. I'm Johnny on the spot. I will be some 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and I'll be looking for problems and looking for things that we can do to make the courts a better place. Make it easy. You can come in and talk to me. Let's get this worked out. I think that in a high school, they should give a class on these things. Yeah,
exactly. I was talking to someone else that feels exactly the same way. Thank you so much. Can you hear my Queenie?
No, I know. It makes me laugh because I knew your dog was named Queenie, and my dad had dogs growing up, and all his dogs were named Brownie.
Oh, for real? this is our third Queenie. So yeah. Yes, yeah, but
That's so
my
funny.
my mom had two Queenies. So this is our third Queenie.
There you go.
So yeah, thank you. And I truly apologize for that. I really do.
I love Queenie.
Thank you so much. Now I want to talk to you about how you will be, just like you said, you're looking for things that could be and should be changed. And I want you to educate us on how that looks with big business, you know, and how do we play a part in how big businesses take advantage of the little guy? Yeah.
Well, when I get into a case and say I have the case for you, you're the plaintiff, and I file suit, the first thing they're going to do is motion to dismiss. I don't care about that. The next thing they do is they serve me with like 100 interrogatories, which you, the plaintiff, have to answer. I mean, I help you answer those, but they're exhausting. They're exhausting, and they will go into every nook and cranny of your life.
Yeah.
And that needs to stop. You know, they need to have discovery be open, but it has to have its restrictions. Now, in federal court, you're only allowed 25 questions. They restrict you to 25 questions. They can't go on forever and ask you about in a deposition and you know, go on for hours and try to wear you down. And they can't, you know, there are limits. We need to, and we're starting to do that. We need to impose those limits in the civil division. Now, what I do for my clients is I stop it. I get 75 interrogatory questions, and guess what I am? I'm on my computer typing a motion. Out. God.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Most lawyers don't do that.
Yeah. And you know, I'm glad that you're breaking down every, you know, aspect of the litigation that you do deal with, the big businesses, the big corporations, because what we should be listening to is, like I asked you, you know, why Court of Common Pleas? Well, this is what you're taking to the bench of the Court of Common Pleas, and what we should be looking at is this someone that could recognize when this is in front of, because these are issues that we usually don't address, you know, in our courtrooms. We're thinking of drugs, you know, things like that, murder or divorce, tickets, but we're not thinking of the wills, the deeds, the big corporations, you know, and how the small guy, our voice don't matter when it comes to, you know what I mean? So, but I also know is when we know and when we're educated on these things, that's when it matters. You know what I'm saying? But as long as we do not get educated on the importance of what's going on right now, that's what hurts us. And so I'm glad that you're bringing that out, because my next question to you is, you know, West Empower have been asking, you know, several people who come on and to educate us on the importance of the situation that we are in right now. You know, this unique situation that we are in with these 9 seats, you know. Can you, in your terms, can you tell us and educate us on why should the community even care and be involved in this race right now?
It's extremely important. We have spent a long time with a court, and in my humble practice, I have had to go up on appeal all the time because they're knocking plaintiffs out, and this is the opportunity to have a fresh court. A court that it's equal to Allegheny County. Do you know there are 53,000 more women in Allegheny County than men? There are 43 positions on the court, 13 are women, and there are only 4 blacks on the court, and 1 black woman. Now, we should be reflecting what the county population is, and we can do that. And we can come into the 20th century, 21st century with a lot of these ideas and what people are doing. I am uniquely qualified in the environmental sector and going against big business. Whereas when I first started practicing, big business ruled. And everybody, coal companies, gas companies, they were the rulers. Wow. And sort of had to sit back and bide our time. Now, I'll tell you, it just came to my mind during this COVID. I don't know if the general population is aware of this, but they have been in Harrisburg. They've been trying to pass immunity laws for doctors and for other professionals, so that because of COVID, they can commit negligence, malpractice, and yes.
Wait.
And Joe Citizen can't sue them because of all this COVID that's been going on. We've been fighting that along with the gerrymandering of the courts. But, I'm involved and I'm watching that. I watch the legislation all the time because it could be dangerous. I mean, you could go. This
is why these are so important. Say that one more time. Tell us that one more again. What are they doing in Harrisburg?
They're trying to pass immunity legislation so that if you're in the emergency room and because of COVID, they want to pass immunity laws so that if you're injured in the emergency room, they'll because of COVID, that you're immune from negligence. You can't get sued. Now they're wrapping this all into COVID, but the laws that they're writing are basically, carte blanche. They're saying, hey, Go ahead, cut the finger off. No problem.
Yeah. And see, this is another, Beth, like we've been saying over and over and over and over. And, I don't mind sounding redundant. I don't mind keep repeating it, because this is one of the reasons that it is so important for us to know who, the what, the where, and the why. It's important for us to do our research. It's important for us to know exactly what we're talking about when we're at the table talking, because we know, by a past that we are not invited to the table. So when we kick the door down and bring our own seat, we need to know exactly what we're talking about. So thank you so much for that. Thank you. My next question to you is, now dealing with where you come from with your expertise, and taking it to the bench for the Court of Common Pleas. How would you deal with addiction and mental health, in the Court of Common Pleas? And I also want to add on, we were educated here at West Empower. We were educated that, because usually we say addiction, mental health, it's one box. And we were not adding domestic violence with it as well, and I'm sure there's other pieces that we need to open up that lid and put in. So can you help us with that as well?
Well, yes, because I deal with it on a very personal level. And what I have done is I continue to seek out help, and I'm very tolerant. And when I get called at 3 a.m. and I have to go down to the police station and I see my brother there, all beat up because they don't understand him. And he's gone off his medication and he's caused a ruckus. I know that I have that personal experience, but when that comes into my courtroom every day, I'll be able to help people more because I'll be helping more people every day. Because I get that. I understand that. He was born that way.
Yeah.
He doesn't want this. He's sad. He gets depressed. And nobody, I have other clients. They don't want this.
Yeah.
They don't want it at all. And I had a client in here yesterday, and he was he gets angry at his situation and his family. And I keep telling him, buddy, you got to settle down. Let's just sit and talk. And if I have to take the time in my courtroom to do that, I'll do it, because it's so important. The addiction, they don't want to be addicted. They don't want to be mentally ill. And the person who is getting frustrated and hitting their loved ones, they don't want, we need to open this conversation. We need to talk about this. We need to address this, and we need to talk to them, talk them down. It's something that we can work through it. We can try. I mean, I know with my brother, he has autism, and I've tried for years.
And and what else I heard was also someone else had shared that with us as well, that of course, the person being abused, I'm gonna go to domestic violence real quick. Of course, the person that is being abused, of course, they need the help in everything like that, the support, resources, and they also took it a step further and talked about the person who was doing the abusing. Because if we don't talk about, all parties, then there's a section being left out. So it's not all being healed or helped with resources in the necessary things that's needed. So thank you so much. And thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you so much. Sure. My next question to you is, so you told us about and then I don't want to go too much into bail, the cash bail, because, I think we were educated enough on once it gets to you, it's because that starts at like the lower level. And so, so I just wanted to make sure that we, asked about that. So our listeners remember that where it starts, we were already, educated on that as well. So we're going to go to our next question. And my next question to you is can you share with us something about yourself that, a lot of people don't know. It's something you're proud of, and you don't brag about it. Maybe your close family members only know about it. And now we're asking you to share it with us.
There's a lot of different things. One thing is I have, I don't know if it's bragging, I have dinner with my family almost every night, and we pray at the table. And, I take care of my parents. And I'm pretty much I'm an open book. I come off, I think when you look at me, I come off as reserved, but I'm just I've decided that I'm going to be a happy person. I'm happy. I love to share. I'll give the shirt off my back. And I'll do anything. I will do anything for anybody. Wow. And I'll be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for that. And so let me ask you this. And throughout our talking, we went through at least 3 or 4 of my questions that you had already answered within us communicating. So I want to share with us, why you? What makes you unique for the Court of Common Pleas bench?
30 years trial experience. And I've earned it. I mean, I have a lot of notches on my lipstick case. I'm in the best lawyers in America, and that's something that just was voted on by peers. And I'm AV preeminent rated. I have reached the top of my game, and this is the next step. I love to write. I love to write opinions. I love to solve problems, and I love to help people. I just can't get to them fast enough.
Yeah.
When I go to court, I'll have every day coming on. I only have 15 years. And this would be, something that I want to end my career with, and the best 15 years of my life helping.
Yeah. Because, and then I wanted to, comment on a couple of things you had, like how many women you know, and how many women of, how many Black women and how many people of color, period, is on the bench. And I want to make sure that we, you know, we heard that, and make sure that we're always keeping the statement in front of us that nothing changes if nothing changes. No. You know, so I want to make sure that, and I want to make sure that, you know, because that goes right into when you were saying, you know, back when you were breaking the glass ceiling, you didn't even know that you were breaking the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
And we're still here. We're still in that era that we're still, you know, fighting to break the glass ceiling. I meant to say not mirror, the glass ceiling. We're still fighting to break the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? And so I want us to make sure that we're hearing that, and we're also checking and checking on everything that we talk about. You know, make sure that our listeners this is all valued. This is all research that someone can do on their own. They can look up everything on their own. And that way we know who, the what, the where, and the why. And that's what's important, you know, to all of us. Now, before we wrap it up, we got a couple more questions. And before we wrap it up, so there may be people that have something to ask you that I did not ask. There may be someone that want to go a little further with what we talked about. Or there may be someone that wants to volunteer. How can someone get in touch with you?
My cell phone, 412-519-5404. You can text me, you can call me, I pick up my phone. My website, www.sinatra/judge.com. And my law firm, 412-391-7135. I am responsive. I pick up, I act, I want to help.
Yeah. Now, I will be like, I don't know how many people is going to call me and ask me your last name. What is the relationship? What is the... So I want to make sure that we educate ourselves on what is the Sinatra, any relationship.
Yeah. Yes. My husband is my second husband, and he's 16 years older than I am. And I was single for 10 years. And when I met him, I said to him, look, you're 16 years older than me, and I'm going to fix you with my older friends. And after about 3 or 4 months of hanging around with him, I said, I'm going to keep you.
Yeah.
You're a guy. So he was telling me on his bucket list, one of the things on his bucket list, he wanted to find out if he was related. So we went to Sicily and we found the house and we got a genealogist. Yeah. There were 13 brothers, and those 2 brothers, one was my husband's great-grandfather, and one was Frank's great-grandfather. So they are like 5th cousins.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. It's cool.
So you just shared something else with us that a lot of people don't know. So
you know, it's funny is my dad and my husband fight over my last name. My says, keep it. My husband says Sinatra. My dad said Tarasi. So I'm like, just call me Beth. Just call me Beth.
Well, you know what? I want to say thank you so much. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for educating us. But before we go, is there anything else that you would like to say before we wrap it up this afternoon?
Let's do women. Let's do this. There's only one woman in the civil division, Judge Ward. She's the only female in the civil division. We can do this. I feel it. And I think we're blessed, and this is time for change. And Terri, I want to thank you. I'm amazed at your story. If there's anything I can do to help you or any of your listeners, please call me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Beth Sinatra. Yes, there is a relationship with the Frank Sinatra. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us, for educating us. And again, everyone that is listening, if there's anything else that you would like to ask Beth, if you would like to know more about why she's running for the Court of Common Pleas, where she fits in, and what she can bring to the table, please make sure that you call her cell phone, look at her website, look her up, inbox her, do whatever you need to do to get in touch with her. And she will, and as she said, she does pick up her phone. So thank you again. And we hope to have you back, because things change all the time. So we hope to have you back. And with that, thank you so much. Thank you.